So imagine you and your somebody having a private, intimate moment. You take some sexy pictures just for the two of you to enjoy. But then things go wrong on a breakup, and you know the kind of bitterness that can come with a breakup. But one thing you don't expect is to get a phone call or to see your phone blowing up with messages to say, hold on, those same sexy, intimate pictures that were just for the two of you have now been posted online by your ex. What you would do? I'm Dion Jackson Miller. Thank you so much for joining me. Time for tea. So that scenario where somebody posts intimate pictures of you online to try to embarrass you or humiliate you after a breakup has a name. It's called revenge porn. And I know when people break up, when things get bad, you know, people can do really terrible things to each other. And this is one example of that. And Jamaica is now looking at putting in place a specific law against this. Gonna tell you more in just a moment. Because revenge porn is harmful. Right? It can cause mental health issues. It causes people a whole heap of distress. Can cause social isolation. People don't want to go around other people. They want to lock away and hide. It can cause reputational problems. People start to see you differently, even though this was not your fault. It can cause people problems at their workplace. We have seen revenge porn in Jamaica before, you know, and they have been prosecuted under the Cybercrimes Act, under a provision that's called malicious communication. Soon tell you more about that. So in 2019, a Jamaican man had been accused of posting nude pictures on the internet of his ex-girlfriend, who was a former American TV news anchor. Now, he had pleaded guilty to 3 counts of malicious communication. Her name was Darith Chisholm, and she had complained to Jamaican authorities that Powell had created a website where he posted nude pictures of her along with derogatory comments. She said, at the time, I couldn't think, I couldn't breathe. I was so humiliated, I was so ashamed, so embarrassed. I felt like my world was coming to an end. She said that had started for her months of pain, depression, anger, confusion, and silence. Now, the story did go on to say that she has now become a cyber harassment activist. So big up to her for taking what must have been a terrible experience for her and turning it into something positive, with she now raising awareness about the issue and campaigning against it. So big up to her for that. In 2025, 2 people also were charged under the Cybercrimes Act after a video showing a woman nude was posted online without her consent. They were also charged with malicious communication. Now, under the existing law, the Cybercrimes Act, malicious communication is when you use computer to send data, send a message that is obscene, menacing, or threatening with the intention to harass somebody or to harm them. If you're convicted in the RM court, which we now call the parish court, you can be fined up to $4 million or up to 4 years. If it's a second offense, or if by doing so you have harmed the person, then the fine can go up to $5 million and the imprisonment up to 5 years. If this is in the circuit court, now Supreme Court, there can be imprisonment or fine, imprisonment up to 10 years. If there is harm, fine or imprisonment up to 15 years. The committee that reviewed the Cybercrimes Act felt that revenge porn needed specific legislation. It's something that's, you know, so potentially harmful, as we heard from Ms. Chisholm, in terms of the effect it had on her. So the Technology Minister, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, brought a bill to Parliament to amend the Cybercrimes Act. Now, this amendment does different things. One of the things it does, though, is to criminalize specifically revenge porn.
Clause 5, Mr. Speaker, amends Section 9 of the Principal Act to effect 2 significant changes, Mr. Speaker. First, Mr. Speaker, to replace the narrowing word "sent to another person" found in Section 9(1) of the Principal Act with the broader concept of published, Mr. Speaker. And secondly, to address a major modern harm vector, the non-consensual sharing of intimate content in the digital space, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it creates the offense of publishing an intimate image without consent or being reckless as to whether consent has been given, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it then defines the key terms in a way that reflects today's platform realities. Importantly, Mr. Speaker, the clause defines intimate image to include content that is captured, generated, or created, Mr. Speaker. And I repeat that. To include content that is captured, generated, or created. Mr. Speaker, this is very important as we are now living in an artificial intelligence age. Because, Mr. Speaker, the law must protect Jamaicans not only from what a camera records, but also from what modern tools can fabricate. Yes. Mr. Speaker, we have to ensure that those who seek to hide behind a computer or a similar device cannot cause harm, malicious or otherwise, to the reputations of Jamaicans.
I am going to be looking at the bill in more detail to see exactly what it says, but some of the things the minister says here make a whole heap of sense. In other words, it's going to be an offense to publish intimate images of someone without their consent, but as he rightly says, nowadays you have to take into account AI, artificial intelligence. Everything you do, we have to take AI into account. So it will also be an offense to publish images that have been generated using artificial intelligence. Now, this can't catch everything, right? Especially things that are happening outside of the jurisdiction in another country, in other words. But it should be pretty useful for revenge porn, which is usually done by somebody close to you and usually by somebody pretty close at hand. So what kind of behavior is covered by this proposed amendment?
Mr. Speaker, it defines published in a practical, technological way to include sending, Mr. Speaker, transferring, Mr. Speaker, posting, Mr. Speaker, disseminating, Mr. Speaker, or otherwise, Mr. Speaker, provide access. You see, you don't learn, I know. But you will learn. You will learn. You will learn. Mr. Speaker, it makes it plain that a person under 18 is incapable of giving consent for these purposes, Mr. Speaker. And it provides, Mr. Speaker, carefully framed statutory defenses for a legitimate publication context, including law enforcement, legal proceedings, bona fide educational or scientific and medical research, and reporting about historical or current events with reasonable care taken, Mr. Speaker, to omit explicit depiction. Where this offense is committed, Mr. Speaker, against an individual under 18 years, a term of imprisonment not exceeding 20 years may be imposed.
Opposition spokesperson who deals with digital transformation, Chris Brown, said the opposition broadly supports the amendments.
Under the previous legislation, the focus was largely on sending information from one person to another. The inclusion of the concept of publishing now properly reflects the realities of the modern digital environment. It captures conduct involved sending, transferring, posting, disseminating, or otherwise providing access to images and data, including through social media platforms. Mr. Speaker, this change recognizes that harm today is often caused through public and mass dissemination, not merely private communication. It modernizes the act in a way that is fit for the new social media and digital era, and the opposition welcomes this amendment.
All right, folks, gonna leave it there. Like the video, share it with somebody you think might be interested, and subscribe to the channel if you're not yet a subscriber. Also, click the notification bell so you know anytime I drop a new video. I'm Dion. Thank you so much for watching. Back to tea.